this is my intro. Okay, you ready for my intro?
I'm ready for your intro.
Okay.
Go for
Welcome to Hypnosis in Action. I am Stephen Anderson. I am the Outback Hypnotist, and we are going Smartie trekking. Have you ever been Smartie trekking before?
Trekking?
Yes.
No, I've never been Smartie trekking. What is Smartie trekking?
Smartie trekking is exactly what we're doing. We're taking my camouflage Smartie and we're going for a drive around one of the beautiful parts of Queensland.
Oh, so you're smart car.
Smart car trekking.
Oh,
how's that?
I love it.
Okay. Now, Marguerita.
Yes.
You are the first. You are the first person to hop into this car to do what I actually planned on this show being.
Right.
How's that sound?
Oh, I love it.
Okay, so what?
What am I supposed to be doing?
So, at this moment, I've had 10 people on the Smartie trekking show.
Right.
I've had one that I recorded the show and she pulled out and said, I don't want to do it now, can you not do it?
No.
And I've had another dozen or so before the Smartie trekking idea happened.
Yes.
And all of those people, I knew them a little bit. So we'd spent a little bit of time together. And I had an idea that I was sitting there, talking to someone who's doing pretty well. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay? You, I don't know at all from a bar of soap.
Okay then.
And you are here on the recommendation of someone who has sat in this Smartie as being someone who's pretty impressive, who is doing a really good job and is doing something, I guess, a bit different. So Lauren Clement told me to call you, and she said, get Marguerita on this show because you're pretty cool. Okay, so do you want to know what the show's about?
Yeah, that'd be great. So I actually know what we're doing.
Yeah.
To the left.
To the left. Okay, so I believe that we are all hypnotising ourselves every day. I also believe that most of us are doing it the wrong way. So I'm getting people on the show who are doing it, or at least a few things, the right way. I'm trying to work out how they're hypnotising themselves differently to the way other people are. Yep. And we go from there. Right. How's that sound?
Oh, I love this conversation
You
already.
like it
already?
already?
Oh, I love it
Okay,
already.
cool.
Okay.
So to start, let's start by telling me a little bit about you. The origin story, that type of a thing.
Okay, all right. Well, in 1969, no, I won't go back that far, it's okay.
You actually can go back to that. If you want to. You know?
The mountain's not that big.
Because, well, the point being that most of what we believe, we learned between when we were 0 and when we were 7.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah, well, that's the work that I do.
Oh, so you do the same kind of work I do?
I kind of do.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm a mindset mentor.
Right.
My background is that grew up in Bundaberg. And, you know, I was, being my age, I'm not going to tell you what that is, but being my age...
Well, you did say 1969, so I've got a bit of an idea.
Gave it away. Yeah. You know, at school we did shorthand, we did
Hang
typing.
on, you were in Bundaberg?
Yeah.
Were you really?
Yeah.
I went to St. Paul's in Bundaberg in 1972.
Oh, you poor bugger.
Yeah.
I was actually a good Catholic girl for a while.
Were you? Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know.
For a while.
And then I went to a public school because it was closer to home and lots of other stuff. But yes, I'm a recovering Catholic.
Right.
So
I fit that category.
Don't hold that against me.
Okay.
But so grew up in Bundy, did the whole go to school, did typing and shorthand, and the whole path was you're supposed to go and do some work somewhere for a while, probably secretarial, and then get married and have babies and, you know, be a good wife. Okay. It kind of did sit well with me. So I went to university.
Would you say that was a Bundaberg thing, or that was just a 1970s thing?
I think it was a bit of both.
Yeah.
I think the rest of Australia was transitioning. Small towns like Bundaberg were still very stuck in that kind of paradigm, and there weren't a lot of opportunities in Bundaberg, particularly if you wanted to stay in Bundaberg. If you wanted to go to uni, you had to leave. There were no other options. There were no online universities back when I was at school.
And I'm not sure that's a bad thing.
No, I mean, I love the whole online thing, but I went to Queensland University for a while, and then I went to Townsville, I went to James Cook University for a while, but uni just wasn't for me. And the other thing was that I had this voice as a singer, and I ended up eventually quitting all that and finding my way to the Conservatorium of Music.
Right, okay.
And studying voice.
Okay.
So
I had a totally different picture of the con. Yeah.
Oh, well,
I saw a casino type thing, yeah.
It's part of the establishment,
Right.
which is all a con.
Sorry, that's it. What I'm looking for 3 things, right?
Yes.
Okay. I need my Spider-Man notebook. Take that.
Yes.
And you can have a pen.
Yes.
Okay, it's part of the establishment. It's all a con. Can you write that down?
And a lot of this life is just one big con.
Oh,
so,
look, you've got to stop there. Write that one down too.
Okay. We've got some goals happening already.
We can probably put them together. See, what have you picked up what I've done there? I've picked out a couple of the things that you have said that are actually very different to what most people think.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And they're firm beliefs, because the way you said them, there was belief in the way you said it. When you listen to this, if you ever listen to this, and I'm not sure anyone actually does, then we're going straight ahead or we're going right?
Go straight ahead.
Okay. You'll hear the belief in that voice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm so on this page. So yes, went to the con, studied to be an opera singer for a little while, and didn't stay with that for long. But yeah, eventually sort of found my husband. We met.
Right.
We got married.
Right.
I went and got a job. And I was in soul sucking corporate. So I was doing admin, project management in soul sucking corporate, hated it with a passion. All I wanted to do was sing. And I continued to study to be an opera singer, but having a mortgage didn't really allow me to do that freely through the establishment.
Yes.
So I did that privately, and it's the arts. Look, all of life is challenging. Keep going straight ahead. All of life is a challenge, and the arts is definitely challenging, particularly in a country like Australia.
Why do you say that? Why are you picking out Australia?
There's not a lot of opportunities here in Australia for the arts. The arts are embraced in places like Europe, and we're outdoorsy here. People want to go to the football. They don't want to go and sit and listen to opera. Okay. So if you wanted a career, you needed to go overseas.
Okay, but you're saying arts, and in the same breath you're saying opera. Would you call a jazz singer a member of the arts?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of people who go and listen to a jazz singer here in this country.
Well, that's right. Yes, absolutely. So I guess there's different forms of art. But any form of art, it is a harder sell here in Australia than it is in Europe. Yeah. So anyway, that was not my path.
Sorry, I've got to jump in there.
Yes.
I'm not supposed to talk. I'm supposed to listen, because that's what we're supposed to do.
That's okay.
Right. But so I'm a hypnotist. I do hypnosis shows.
Yes.
And it's as tough as. There's no one in this country doing hypnosis shows. Yeah. But God, it's tough to get a gig. Yeah. It's amazing. And I'm thinking, but back to you. Yeah, because you're saying it's hard in the arts, and I don't know if you'd classify a hypnosis show as the arts.
No, and like I said, all of life poses challenges, particular challenges. With opera in Australia, there are very, very limited opportunities. If you really want to make it, you need to go to Europe. Okay. So, if you're happy just finding a place in the chorus, which I like hen's teeth, and staying in the chorus, then you're okay. But if you want to make it, then you need to go overseas.
Is that something that you can do? Okay, not everybody could get into the chorus. That's probably a really big step. But is that something you can grow better at as an artist, as a singer? Can you get better and better so that you find yourself at the front, or is it something you're born with?
It's a bit of both. I mean, in order to be an opera singer, you have to be born with a classical kind of voice that will be able to sing the operatic repertoire. But by the same token, there is so much skill involved in the art form that you just get the right teachers, the right mentors, the right opportunities, the right doors open for you. So yes, you can be born with the right voice. You need to work really hard, and you also need to have the right doors open for you. So there are a lot of incredibly talented artists out there that just never make it, and that comes back to mindset. So
why does that come back to mindset?
Because we create our own reality.
With all honesty, I'm sorry to knock you here, but that's some seriously negative talk you've been throwing at me these last couple of minutes.
Oh, as far as opportunities in Australia, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
There are opportunities, but trying to forge your way in Australia is not the way to do it.
Right.
If you can have the world at your feet, but in order to actually have those doors open for you, it's important to go overseas, to cut your teeth overseas, and then come back to Australia.
Okay. So let me throw this thought at you.
Yes.
In other types of art,
yes,
whether it be painting, whether it be more modern style of music,
yep,
those doors are no longer as rigid as they used to be.
Very true.
But they are when it comes to art, to opera. Is that what you're saying to me?
Opportunities in Australia to sing with an opera company, because we only really have one major opera company here in Australia.
Yeah.
So unless you find your way into that opera company, and a lot of the
opera politics.
Well, there's so much politics in the arts in general, and very, very much so in the opera circles. And we have some amazing Australian artists who are doing incredible work here in Australia, but I would say most, if not all, have done some work overseas.
Okay.
So in order to have a career, you need to be working internationally. If you really want a career, you need to be working internationally, because there's not enough work here. There's just not enough opportunities. If you go to Europe, there are multiple opera companies. Okay. There are multiple opportunities to perform. In Australia, that's limited, and there is this small opportunity. Yeah, go right. This small pool of working artists and a large pool of artists. So it's a bit like acting.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Whereas the pool in Europe is much larger. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more opportunities, and
so wouldn't in Europe there's 10 times as many people there? Wouldn't there be 10 times as many artists going for 10 times as many jobs?
Not necessarily. No.
No. Okay.
No, it's definitely more open overseas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got to ask this question again.
Yes.
Is this specific to opera? And maybe even to standard type of... You see, okay, and it's not. Standard type of acting is no longer as much of a thing as it used to be. For instance, I'll give you a for instance. Do you want one of them?
Yeah.
Yesterday I went to see Pitch Perfect 3.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
An American artist by the name of...
What,
what are you doing?
What a ridiculous place to try and turn
That is really
around.
not smart. Yeah. DJ someone. DJ someone.
Don't know.
He's a big fat, basically a DJ.
Yep.
Who adds his own voice to the music he plays.
Yep.
And he's very big on Snapchat.
Okay.
And through being very big on Snapchat, he's become very big everywhere else. And all of a sudden has found himself an actor on Pitch Perfect 3.
Ah, okay.
Because
yes.
through 5 years ago, he was a a DJ in a club.
Yeah.
And they've got a special name for them. I can't remember what they are. But he's quite well known now. But he's been built up primarily through social media, not through a door that was opened by a radio executive or a.
Yeah, I'm not sure the opera establishment is about to start picking some of their artists off YouTube.
Well, maybe not, but
At least not yet.
But would that be a bad? And well, maybe they're not going to do it. But 20 years ago, there wasn't anyone going to be having a #1 hit or starring on Pitch Perfect because they were massive on Snapchat.
Oh, look, and there are many more opportunities for artists in general.
In general,
But if you want to be part of the establishment,
yes.
If you want to be part of that, I'm an opera singer working for Opera Australia,
Yep.
whatever.
Okay.
It's limited.
Okay.
It's tight.
Okay.
So, but you know, if you want to be a YouTube megastar, then you know there's plenty of opportunities for that.
As an opera singing YouTube megastar?
I'm sure there are plenty of ways if you found the right angle, you've got to appeal to the right audience. And it's all about structuring your approach.
Yep.
You can create anything. So all things are possible within this reality that we live. But it's finding the right angle. It's coming up with the right strategy. It's having the right mindset. So instead of limiting yourself like, oh, well, I want to be an opera singer and I only want to be an opera singer here in Australia. Okay, well, maybe you're going to have to look at what other things can you do. Can you work doing corporate gigs as an opera singer rather than just wanting to sing for Opera Australia?
Yep.
Or like I created my own opera company in Sydney for a little while to be able to create work for myself rather than just relying on auditioning every year for Opera Australia and hoping that I might be one of the ones that just made the cut.
Okay, tell me about that.
It can be quite demoralising.
No. Tell me about the process of creating an opera company.
Oh, okay. Pretty much you find other people that want to sing with you and you do a variety of, you put together a repertoire, you decide what target audience you're going for, who you want to entertain, and then you put together some really unique show that's entertaining, that's being able to be received by quite a broad audience, so you're not just appealing to the elite opera set. Obviously, if you're doing corporate, you're appealing to a much wider audience, so it's got to be fun and entertaining, and it's also got to be accessible, so something that they can appreciate. And there's a lot of really fun opera out there, so they're not just sitting there listening to the quality of the voice and watching the quality of the performance. They're just having a bloody good time.
Okay.
So, the biggest problem was marketing it when you don't know anybody.
Right.
Knowing somebody is very helpful. When you don't know anybody, it's a tough gig. So, it was a bit of a tough gig, and eventually left that behind and moved to beautiful Queensland.
Right, okay, so it was a failed business.
Yeah,
okay.
It was.
Cool.
Gave it a good crack.
Yeah, well.
But it didn't really work.
Well.
And cost a lot of money because you have to pay the other artists, and they worked for nothing for a little while, but they weren't willing to work for nothing for forever.
Yeah.
And the accompanist, the repetiteur, the vocal coach, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was good fun while we did it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good fun. It taught me a lot about business.
Okay, what did it teach you about business?
That you need to know what you're doing before you head out. You need to have a strategy in place.
No one does.
And you need to have the right mindset.
Right.
No, well, most people figure that out as they go, and that's why 90% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, because they go out with a great idea, thinking, man, this is going to work, but they don't have the right strategy in place, they don't have the right marketing in place, they don't have the right business model in place. Go left.
Left.
They don't have the right mindset. They don't have self-belief, self-confidence. We have so much I am not enoughness going on in our heads that we constantly sabotage ourselves because we don't believe that we are worthy, that we're good enough, that we deserve it. Plus, we don't think it's safe. We have all this conditioning, as you mentioned, from the ages of 0 to 7. We are programmed. We come into this world programmed. Well, we come into this world not programmed, but when we come into this world, we are then programmed by our environment. We are a product of our environment.
Right.
So, as you well know, and this conditioning is all centered around, it's not safe, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it. Fear, and doubt.
It's not safe.
I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it.
Now, why are you saying that? Are you saying that because you see that in the people that you work with, or are you saying that because that's deep down inside too?
Both.
Both.
It's certainly been my experience. It's been my experience working with others. You know, we have 60,000 programs running around in our subconscious mind. And they are all so diverse and all a product of our conditioning, which is a product of our environment, but they all come back to the fear. You've got to have a look out here.
Yeah, I'm just looking, you know, who in their right mind would jump off the side of a mountain?
Oh,
you know, let's
just
yeah.
It's so beautiful. That's where the people go.
Yeah.
Parasailing.
Parasailing, hang gliding.
Hang gliding.
Yeah.
Yes, hang gliding. Yeah, so it's all around fear. We have fears, and there are multiples of those. So that's the it's not safe part.
Yep.
And then there's the I'm not enough. We are conditioned to believe we are not enough. And it is so pervading and so controlling. It controls everything that we do. It controls everything in the way we respond to life. And it's very clever and quite insidious because you don't know what's going on.
Right.
It shows up in your habits, it shows up in the way you respond to life, it shows up in your results. But if you're still plugged into the matrix, if you're not aware that all this is going on.
Okay, give me a for example. Give me a for example of an I'm not enough.
I'm not enoughness?
Yeah, I'm not enoughness.
Okay. So, I actually went through this myself just recently. So, where I just felt really crappy. You know those days where you just feel crappy. You just feel like crap. And I'm very fortunate to have been born on the upside of happy. So most of the time I'm just in this bubble of happiness. But this day felt really crappy. And I sat down and I went, right, okay, I can either try and just shift state, because so many people who do mindset work, they're just like, well, you've just got to shift state. Or I can find out what's behind this feeling, because there's obviously something that wants to be dealt with. There's obviously something that's coming up that I need to shift. What is it? So I sat down, I did my processes, and within half an hour just found out that I felt this deep sense of I'm unworthy, I'm pathetic, my vision for my future, there's no way from that space, from feeling this sense of lack of worth and worthiness and this sense of feeling pathetic, that I was ever going to be able to live up to that vision. So it was the universe showing me that this needs to shift. So when I sat down and I processed it and I did the discovery work to find out what it was, I could shift it, release it, and now I'm able to move forward and feel self-empowered and know that that I am worthy, I am good enough, I do deserve it, I do have what it takes, and be that light for others.
Okay, can you write this down?
Yes.
Recognises it when those voices are acting. Okay, and I set on this little task that I'm playing here, this little Smartie trekking, to see if I could find, maybe a dozen or 2 dozen different things that people did that was really unique.
Yep.
And I'm not finding a dozen or 2 dozen. I'm finding there are 2 or 3 or 4 things that people are doing that's different.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
That is one of them. And we've reached that point in this show. And I want to have you back on again because we've only just started. And this is only like a half an hour long show. And I reckon we could talk for hours.
Oh, yeah, we sure could.
So this is where I say 3 things that you are hypnotising yourself. And I think we've written down 4. But the last one's the important one. And that is the fact that you recognise when you're having those things happening, those inner voices, those inner feelings, those whatever they are, you go, oh, hang on, that's happening now.
Yes.
And now that I know it's happening, I will find out what it is, and I'll fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is something most people don't do.
No, because they're not aware.
They're not aware.
They're on the emotional roller coaster, but, and self-awareness, this is probably one of the most important things that I will share at this moment, is that self-awareness is absolutely essential.
Okay, you said it better than I did. Okay, number 1, the way you're hypnotising yourself differently is you believe that self-awareness is absolutely
essential.
Essential.
It's critical. The more you are aware, your emotions are your guidance system. So I know when I am off, when I'm not in alignment, because the more you are in alignment with who you truly are, your truly powerful self, with your mission and your vision, with consciousness, then the more you will feel that sense of happiness and alignment and joy and be in flow. When you are off, you know it emotionally. You show up differently. And
so you're saying to me there's one thing. Is that what you're saying to me? Where I was saying there's 2 or 3, you're saying there's one.
No, I'm saying, no, because there are multiple things about the hypnosis, but I believe the most critical one is the self-awareness.
Yes.
Self-awareness comes through your emotional guidance system. And when you are paying attention, when you know who you are, and when you choose to pay attention to whether you're on track or off track, and most people are too damn busy and preoccupied with the busyness of life to pay attention and recognize when they're not in alignment. And the other thing most people don't know is when they are in alignment. They're so caught up in the matrix and the busyness and the conditioning and the expectations of others and the expectations of society, they haven't got enough headspace to pay attention and be aware.
We're not close enough to finish to start heading back to your place. You know that, don't you?
No, that's all right. This is where the self-awareness and building the self-awareness and recognizing when you're not in alignment is critical to being able to become the person you need to be to achieve your vision for the future. Because if you were the person you needed to be to achieve your grand vision for yourself, you'd be doing it.
Okay.
If you're not doing it, then you're not that person yet.
Okay.
To become that person, you must have the self-awareness.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've come back to what I said again. Self-awareness is the golden egg,
the first step.
the silver bullet, the first thing.
It's the first step. It's the first step. Because then
it's a big step.
It is a massive step. Self-awareness, and just when you actually recognize and build that self-awareness, really congratulate yourself for that, because you're way ahead of the pack. When you have that self-awareness, you are so far ahead of the pack. The mindless, I call sounds a bit derogatory, but I call it Lemmingsville.
Lemmingsville.
You remember the game Lemmings many years ago, where all these lemmings would just march off the cliff?
Oh.
Turn right.
Right, okay.
So they would just relentlessly march, and they would just all follow each other off the cliff. They were lemmings.
Okay.
They were called lemmings.
Yep.
So most people are still plugged into the matrix, and they're still we're marching relentlessly toward this cliff. Stephen, and this is what does my head in, is that we have had signs for decades that we are basically on a path of self-destruction. We've had these signs being thrown at us left, right and centre, but we continue to march relentlessly towards self-destruction. It's like nothing will stop us until we are looking over the cliff, and then what the hell do we do? Because we've got all these people behind us who are actually still marching toward the cliff.
Towards the cliff.
So my mission is to help to turn this around.
Okay. Well, okay. So dive into that a little bit more. Okay. Tell me, when you say that we need to do something.
Collective. It needs to be the conscious collective.
It needs to be the conscious collective.
We can
Isn't that a big ask? Shouldn't we sort of start with us?
Yeah, we are.
Right.
I start with me.
Okay.
You start with you.
Okay.
And then we ripple out. But by being aware that by aligning ourselves with consciousness, by opening up our own consciousness, we are then opening up doors for other people, because we have such a profound impact on our environment and the people in it. And when we are willing to acknowledge and open up ourselves to consciousness and our self-awareness, then we open the door for others to be able to do the same thing, and we lead the way.
Okay.
But in order to turn this around, there must be a shift in consciousness, because you can't leave it up to one or two individuals. So many people are looking to the leaders of the world, who aren't necessarily doing that crash hot of a job, by the way, in case you hadn't noticed. But we're looking to the leaders of our world to go, well, there's a problem, you've got to fix it. No. We were part of the problem in the first place. It is up to us to damn well fix it. And we fix it in here and in here, and then we fix it out there.
Okay, so over the last couple of the weeks, I've done a bit of the head for the moviesville.
Yes.
And there's a movie out at the moment by Matt Damon called Downsizing, where someone came up with some sort of an invention that allowed you, if you got all your teeth pulled out, to go in a machine, because the teeth didn't shrink, but everything else did.
Right, okay.
And you could go from being 6 foot tall to 5 inches tall.
Right.
Okay, so you became 0.13 of your size in doing that.
Right.
And in so doing, you made the world better, because you produced so much less and you made so much less waste.
Yes.
If you had a chance to do that, would you do that?
I just about swore then. Hell no.
Hell no.
Just about said something else. 10 left. Hell no. Oh, look, this world is challenging enough without doing something like that. And I don't believe we need to. If we just wake up to the incredible negative impact that we are having by our lack of consciousness, and bring a consciousness to everything that we do, we can turn this around. Mother Nature is profound. She has everything that she needs to be able to reverse the damage that we have done. Not next week, not next month. Give her a couple of 1,000 years, and she'll be back to normal. We're hanging on by a thread, and she's still reeling out the rope. But if we do not pull it up soon, we won't have the opportunity to turn it around. It will have gone too far. Some people are saying we have already gone too far. I don't believe we have, but we're pretty close to the edge. And Mother Nature has the ability, as a colleague of mine once said, to shrug a shoulder and basically a couple of 100,000 of us just get tipped off the edge. So if she wants to, she can kick us off at any time. If she goes, look, I've given you your chances and I've had enough of you torturing me and causing me so much pain, you're gone, then we're gone. But while we're here, why don't we just give it a damn good crack at actually bringing about more self-awareness, more consciousness, more conscious habitual behaviour, so we're not being so destructive. And our external environment reflects our internal environment. Our external environment is in chaos. Our world is in chaos. Our world is in pain. Our environment is in pain because we're in pain. We shift this, we fix that.
Okay, look, you're talking really big stuff here.
I love it.
Okay. Is it possible
Yep.
that the fact that we have 6 billion too many people on the planet, therefore have 6 times as much of this negative stuff happening as we should, is a part of the problem we've got, and maybe Mother Nature should just shrug her shoulders and bring us down to a reasonable place, and that will realign a lot of stuff.
That's one possibility. That's one possibility, and there are multiple possibilities in where we go. As I said, we still have a chance to turn it around. If we don't, then we're pretty much doomed. I mean, look at Elon Musk and a couple of other very incredibly, massively high achievers and very creative people are looking to inhabit other planets. Richard Branson, they're looking to create other planets because they're saying that, you know, by whatever it is, the year 2060, we'll have basically killed this one.
Yep.
So we've got to move on. So they're looking for other alternatives and other places for us to move. So there are multiple possibilities. I like the one where we have enough resources to look after the people that we have. We can't keep populating the planet and expect the planet to look after us. But if enough people actually shift into a conscious space and lead the rest of us down that path, totally different outcome for us, for the planet, for everything.
Okay.
So, yeah, sure, you know, Mother Nature can get rid of us. And look, this life is a fleeting existence. In the infinite existence that is who we are and where we come from.
Okay.
We come from source.
Yes.
We are all connected to this infinite universal intelligence, and we never die. So if we get shrugged off the planet, then we just move on to the next existence. So it's not really of a massive consequence of whether we stay or whether we go. But most people don't recognise that heaven is already here on earth. Heaven is here on earth. Look at where we are, Stephen.
Oh, look, this is delightful where we are right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Heaven is right here in front of our very noses. But we don't see it because of the toxic crap that we have going on up here. We don't even recognise it. We don't connect to it. We are so disconnected from what is right in front of our faces that's why the rest of the world is toxic, is because this is toxic. And we keep spewing out all this toxic rubbish into our planet, into our environment, because this is toxic. You clean this up, we reconnect with who we truly are. We are always this close to reconnecting with who we truly are. We just need a small shift.
We are always this close to reconnecting to
with who we truly are.
Okay, explain that to me.
When we arrive, we know who we are. When we're born...
I have a granddaughter who I'm sure that is true.
Oh.
And she an old soul, actually didn't like me for the first 2 years of her life.
I can understand why.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Has only 2 years later come around to the fact that, okay, I think I can trust that guy.
Yeah.
I think we had problems in a past life. I really do.
Possibly.
And she's forgotten that past life now.
Yep.
But we're getting a bit woo-woo here. Now, so dive down into that a little bit more.
Yeah, so as I said, when we arrive, we remember. We remember where we come from.
Is where you were heading, yeah.
We know we are infinite source. We know we are capable of creating anything that we want. And we have chosen to come into this reality to be on the leading edge of creation. So we create our reality. And we know that from this place, we can create whatever we want in this delicious environment that gives us such an exquisite opportunity to experience what we have created as our senses, our sensory pleasures. And we know that through being leading edge creators and master creators, we can create any experience that we want. Then we have the authorities in our life who influence us, who program us, who condition us, and they are our parents, they are our teachers, the actual authorities, like our education system. Don't get me started on that establishment. Our education system. Then we have our media that program us 24/7, whatever we're listening to, where we are conditioned to believe those three things. It's not safe, we're not good enough, I don't deserve it. We're conditioned through our experiences because we have experiences that cause us emotional pain. So the mind just goes, right, we're not doing that again. I don't want to experience that again, so we are not going to be open to any opportunities that invite the possibility that I might experience failure because it was so painful. I'm not going to take advantage of any opportunities where I might experience success because success was painful. Loss, fear of rejection, criticism, judgment, all these things that we are programmed, we eventually get conditioned out of the expansive beings that we are, and we get conditioned into lack and limitation and not enoughness. We live our lives
into lack of limitation
and not enoughness. We get conditioned into that. That is not who we are. But when
so who are we?
We are infinitely powerful, expansive beings on the leading edge creator. We are leading edge creators and master creators who have the ability to master our own reality. And by choosing to respond to life instead of react to life, because most of us are really reactive.
Yep.
Something happens, we react to it, we don't respond to it. By learning to respond to things that happen, because let's face it, shit happens. It just does. But when we learn how to respond to it and decide that everything in life is happening for us, not to us. When we recognize that life is happening for us, not to us, it is happening to invite our expansive nature, and we choose to expand into our current reality and to expand into the challenges that the world is throwing at us, because our challenges are simply invitations, and the world, the universe saying, you've got more. I know you've got more. Step up.
Okay, so
meet this challenge.
If I put this simply, are you saying to me that the day we are born, we have infinite power? We can do whatever it is we want to do, and we prove that over the next couple of years by learning to do some ridiculously impossible things like walking and talking.
Yeah.
And then, once we've proven to ourselves that we can do it, we allow, or we are then we have society beat the shit out of us. Basically. And take it all away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, do you remember that line in Pretty Woman where she said, you know, if people tell you the bad stuff often enough, you believe it. Yeah. And that is what society does to us.
Can I, again, go back to another movie, because I've been watching Pitch Perfect 3 2 days ago. I'm watching it, and here are 7 to 11, I don't know how many, beautiful young women, right, who have just sung with voices like you would know, sitting on stage, and every one of them had a "I'm not good enough" verse to say, and it went bang, 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 bang across the screen, and I'm thinking, and it's something that I would never have noticed before.
Right.
But I noticed it now. Yeah. And I thought to myself, my God, the number of really young women in this audience that are listening to that, it's not good for them.
No,
you know?
Yeah. And that's where our media is so influential, because we watch it mindlessly. We
Because
really watch it mindlessly, and it is programming us. Our environment is programming us 24/7. As you know, we are most impressionable when we are first born. In those first 2 years, we're in the theta state.
Yes.
And our mind is just sucking all that stuff in. There's no filter. It's just sucking it in. There's no, oh, this is good, this is bad. It just is. And then we move into beta state, and then ultimately we move into alpha state, where we are running those programs 24/7, and our media is very, very responsible, and they know it. The media damn well know it. It's another part of the establishment. Don't get me onto conspiracy theories, by the way. The establishment are deliberately keeping us in fear and disempowered, because it knows when we step into our power, those people who have everything they want and need and have got everything sorted and the world worked out just the way they want it, because they live very nicely, thank you very much, they're history. When we step into our power, that the old paradigms, the systems that we are the systems that we have been plugged into and that we are controlled by can no longer exist. They must cease to exist. And this is where consciousness comes in. And this is my mission, is to help people to recognize the paradigms, get pissed off about the paradigms, get pissed off that they have been conned into their mortgages, into their debt, into the fear-based media that we have. God, I laugh when I see the news, because it's like, oh, here we go again. They just, they beat up all this stuff that is actually not really going on. They just make it sound worse than it could ever possibly be, because we go, oh my God, I dare not stick my head out my door because it'll get blown off.
I stopped watching
Good for you.
media. It must be 6 or 7 years ago now.
Yep.
To the point where I got a phone call from my daughter one day and said, look, I know you won't know this, but Robin Williams has just died. And I thought, wow, you know, the fact that of everything else that happened in that whole time, this is the thing she called me about. And it was the right thing to tell me about.
Yeah.
And for a reason that I do not know, sometime last year, I started listening to the media again for actually a very short duration. It must have been 3 or 4 months. And I could feel myself changing.
No.
You know, I could feel it eating at me. And I thought, wow. Yeah.
Look, if you can disconnect your emotions from it, like I do listen to the media, we do have the news on at home, but I just look at it and I laff and I go, oh my God, seriously?
I'm supposed to go that way, aren't I? Because we are heading back to your home. I'm taking you home. Okay, you've talked my ear off. My head is full. It really is. Normally what I do is I stop at half an hour.
Right.
And I say to the person who's sitting in your seat, look, if there's something you'd like to change, I'll show you a process that you'd be able to do that. Okay? And I was planning to do that, but it was much more fun just listening to you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, when you quit that job, let's have another chat.
Absolutely. I think we should have lots of chats.
Yeah.
You're fun. You're good fun. Okay. So, where are we? Let's finish off by, I'm going to turn down here, Contour Road.
Yep.
Okay. Let's finish off by you telling us about what you do. So.
Okay, I am a mindset mentor, and I do, you would know of EFT, tapping,
yes.
emotional freedom
You're a
technique.
tapper.
I'm a tapper.
Okay.
I'm a tapper. I also do a wide variety of other different processes, mostly energy processes.
Right, yep.
So I help to shift people's mindsets energetically through something called peace process, instant miracle technique. So I can lock into what's going on in somebody's subconscious, and I can actually just intend to shift it, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
And obviously, you know, the tried and true reframing coaching techniques.
Yep.
But I help people to reconnect with their power, with who they truly are, to remember their true selves. Because when you remember, I'm not saying that all of a sudden you wake up the next morning and there's just sunshine and rainbows. We still have a journey. Look, we never get it all done. When you get it all done, you don't live here anymore, because there's no point. So it's still a journey, but you enjoy it a lot more. And even, like I said, this crappy day that I had fairly recently, when you're aware and you go, oh man, this just feels awful. Okay, let's shift it.
That is just so a student I had,
Yes.
a young girl, 14, 15, something like that, had this belief that she was anxious. She had this belief that she was upset. She had this belief that she was unhappy. And she did it really well.
Yeah.
And she spent the whole time just being angry and unhappy. And I'm thinking, and recognising it.
Yeah.
And saying, okay, I recognise it, and now it's time to do something. Is just
Release yourself from the story.
Yeah.
You basically release yourself from the story, because everything is a story.
Yep.
And saying that, sometimes it takes, like when I first started this journey many years ago, I was working with somebody, and for 3 months, all I wanted to do was cry. And I was like, what the hell is this? I had a form of depression. I wouldn't say I was depressed, but what it was because I'd been plugged into the matrix for so long, and I'm this happy person, I had not acknowledged or recognized any of the sadness that I had experienced, and I'd pushed it all down. It took me 3 months to allow it to be processed. It needed to be processed. So you can process it the long way, or you can process it the short way. Yeah. And you and I both know that short way is way more fun. Yeah. And just releases you from the story. But it's not as if you go, oh, well, I'm angry, I'm just going to let that go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm angry. What I'm going to do about it, where is the anger come from? What is the story that has created the anger? Yeah. What's the story I have created that has made me angry? And what am I going to do about it?
Yeah, you see, you look for the story, I look for the feeling.
Yes.
Yeah. And I take that feeling and I change it.
Yes.
Or, with all honesty, I'm not that great at doing it for myself, but I'm really good at doing it for other people.
It's hard to do it for yourself. Yes. Look, it's hard. I have mentors and coaches that I work with all the time, because it is hard to do it for yourself. Even when I was, and I've been through lots of ups and downs. My husband goes, oh, you're having a meltdown. Okay. And then I can sit and do my processes. But in working with mentors and coaches and other people who know this work, they recognise it and help me to move through it so much more quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. How do we get in touch with you?
Oh, okay. Well, people can look up my website.
Which
is PitBull Mindset.
Oh, why does that seem so right?
Yes, my friends, when I rebranded a couple of years ago, went, oh my God, that is so you. PitBull, as in the dog, mindset, and .com. So you can find me there, and you can register for all my free stuff. I give away lots of good free stuff.
I might just register for all your free stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you can find me.
That's where we can find you. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming Smartie trekking with me.
It's been absolutely
It was great fun. I really enjoyed it. I really did. I'm looking forward to us playing again.
Oh,
I know we will.
Absolutely. I love these conversations so much.